Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tom. So, today we're going to explore why doing nothing is the answer to technology addiction. Uh, Doing nothing is something that I am now abiding by as far as dealing with my tech addiction. I also feel like I've found a way to explain why it is a complete answer to dealing with tech addiction. There are lots of different ways to deal with tech addiction. I just find that doing nothing is a very good simple catch-all for it. So we can kind of get into nitty-gritty of like all kinds of different things that we can do for it, but at the very base of it all, it really revolves around doing nothing or just getting away from screens for longer periods of time. That's all it really entails in terms of creating upward spirals for us and creating ways of getting away from technology and more. It just involves literally doing more nothing. So it exposes us to pain. It exposes us to stuff, and I'm gonna explain why doing nothing overall is just a really good thing to do. So first thing is we're gonna explore evolution and humans and how humans work. So something about humans is that our brains work a certain way, and they worked a certain way due to evolution. So they work in the way that they do based on like a pain pleasure balance. So when we feel pain, we feel motivated to do something about the pain. And then when we feel pleasure, we feel motivated to continue to get that pleasure. There are many examples of different kinds of pain that we can experience. So there's things like physical pain, such as hunger, you don't have food, or like nerve pain, so you like break your hand or something, or you have a cut. That can also be pain. So that can motivate us to address the source of physical pain. But what I want to focus on in this video is the psychological pain that we experience. So we experience boredom, we'll experience loneliness, we'll experience shame, we'll experience anxiety. Depression could be another one I didn't include in the video, but I think it's all related. And so, yeah, so there were certain ways in which humans dealt with their pain. So we have these feelings for a reason. So if we were, like, say, way back in caveman times, we were bored. It's like, okay, caveman goes to find something to do. Now that caveman's bored, okay, he's going to go out and forage. Oh, caveman's lonely? Okay, he's going to try to find human connections. Caveman feels shame. He's going to try to find someone to talk to so that he trusts, so that he can feel better about himself. Human feels anxiety. He's maybe anxious about something. Maybe he feels unsafe and he needs to find somewhere to go that's safe. So these things are built for our survival, and they motivate us to act, to do things. These emotions, they were adaptive then. However, now when we have the introduction of phones and technology into our lives, what these phones are doing is they're short-circuiting their way to our pleasure centers. So now if we like want to deal with the pain of these things of boredom, loneliness, shame, anxiety, we can just turn to our phones and then those pains go away. So we're bored, okay, we can open up our phone for notifications, for all kinds of different games, for all kinds of different things. There's like an endless well of things that we can do to fight boredom online. If we're feeling lonely, there's lots of different ways to connect. We can connect in so many different ways. We have lots of different messaging platforms. We have lots of social media sites where we find human connection there. Do we feel shame? Great. We've got lots of different communities that we can join. We've got lots of different little bubbles and places where we can feel like we fit in, where we can feel more like ourselves. Do we feel anxiety? We can suppress the fear that we have about our lives, and we can feel safe in the online world, or we can feel safe knowing that the internet is with us. So the problem is, if we use our phones to deal with all of the pain we have, how do we actually feel motivated to do anything? And the answer is we don't. So the thing that happens if we use our phones a lot, there's a couple things that happen. The first thing is that our phones are going to keep us in that place of pleasure all the time. So we don't actually experience pain. So we don't actually feel motivated to do anything. And then the second thing that happens is downregulation of dopamine receptors in the brain, which then decreases our pain tolerance. And we also feel less pleasure over time. And that's where we get into like tech addiction and we can't escape our phones. And it's just like, it doesn't even feel good per se. And then it's really painful to get off, but then we're really bad at dealing with the pain. And then it just kind of sucks. And so if we do this like repetitively for 12 hours a day, and we're just on our phones or on YouTube or we're just on social media constantly, like 12 hours a day or more, then what happens is we lose out on our human resilience. So we are no longer a resilient creature when we spend 12 or more hours doing these things every day for over the course of like a month. We actually lose our ability to tolerate pain. So I also say here that we become a one-hit KO zombie, so I'd like to explain what that means. So what's a one-hit KO zombie? So I played this game. It's called Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Really awesome game. There's this like weapon called a squirt gun that has lots of ammunition and you can like just use it. And the thing about the 1 KO zombies is that you shoot it with a squirt gun with one shot and it's dead. It's just dead. Whereas you have other zombies out there, like there's this chainsaw zombie guy who's like terrifying, and like if you shoot him with a squirt gun it like does nothing to him and you have to like use a bazooka a few times to kill him. Like he's like insane. And the idea is that when we're on our phone for 12 hours a day, we're like the zombie that just gets shot by a squirt gun and bam, we're dead. Like any amount of pain that we experience, we can't tolerate it. We're just like, nope, I'm out of here. Just go back on the phone. So it's like we come into existence, and then it's like, oh nope, I don't like it there, and then we just run away from it. So a way to chart this, the one health zombie, is between doing something and doing nothing. So at the top we have doing something, and at the bottom we have doing nothing, and then over here is time. And if we have one health and we're not resilient, what ends up happening is, okay, we're on our phone, and then at some point inevitably we'll get bored of that or we'll be off of our phone. And then once we get off our phone, we'll last for a few seconds and we'll experience a tinge of boredom, and then we'll be like, oh, nope, we don't want to feel bored. Okay, go back here. And then we'll go back up here, and then we'll feel a tinge of loneliness when we go back down. We'll get off of our phone, and then we'll feel a tinge of loneliness. And be like, no, we don't want that. Go back and connect on the social media sites. And then we'll be like, oh, man. And then we'll get off our phones again and be like, oh, we feel a tinge of anxiety or fear or pain or whatever. And it's like, no. Go back to doing something. And in this way, we never actually get to, like, interact with pain. We're constantly in a place of seeking pleasure. And the reason why doing nothing is such a catch-all is because we're going to feel pain. And so what ends up happening with revolving your life around doing nothing is that if I do that, so like at the start, so like up here, I'm doing something on my phone, that's like the start, that's like what I'm revolving around, that's our baseline. Whereas down here, doing nothing is what we start off with. And so if I do nothing, and I continue to do nothing, like if I charted the pain that I would feel here, so I'd feel pain, let me do a different color. So let's do red, that's pain color. So it's like I feel more pain, I feel more pain. And then at some point, like right here, I decide, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go do the laundry. And now I'm doing something, and the pain subsides, right? And then I get the laundry done. Okay, now I'm going to do more nothing. I feel pain. Bam. Oh, maybe I can like cook something to eat. Okay, great. And then I cook something, I eat it. Okay, I'm done. I go back to do nothing. Pain. And then, there's this thing that I want to work on. There's this thing that I want to do, etc. So it just goes down the line. And like over time, what ends up happening is that we get more and more used to actually feeling pain, and it like when we feel that pain, it motivates us to do things about the pain, right? When we're the one-hit zombie, we're not going to feel motivated to do anything because we feel this much pain and GG. This much pain, GG. Put it down here. Just make it zero, make the pain zero, right? Whereas here what's happening is it's, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get up to like 10. Now you're a 10 health zombie, and it takes you longer to like, right? And so what you're doing is you're starting to build pain tolerance, and you're starting to find motivation. And the second thing that this is going to do is it's going to regulate your dopamine. So it's going to upregulate your dopamine receptors, that kind of thing. So it's great. A final caveat that I wanted to put in is music. So if I revolve my detox or like doing nothing in this way, where I start off doing absolutely nothing and then wait until the pain is too much and then I go do something. The thing about music is that I would put it like somewhere like halfway between doing something and doing nothing. And so you're going to experience a modest amount of pain here, but it's not going to be as much pain as this. But it's still quite plausible to do it this way. So if I just like kind of sit outside on a chair and I just listen to music for a little while, like at some point I'm just going to kind of get bored of that, and then I'm going to want to do something. And then at some point, okay, now I'm listening to music, and like basically the way I see this is that this slope is higher than this one. But essentially it's like listening to music or a podcast, it's like kind of between doing something and doing nothing. So I just wanted to also include that caveat in there. But hopefully this explains why doing nothing is actually a complete answer to technology addiction. It's going to expose ourselves to pain, which is then going to actually motivate us to do things about our lives. And it's also going to upregulate dopamine receptors. So hopefully that helps you guys. Have a good night, day, wherever you are, and have a nice life. And yeah, let's go.